In a small, remote village lost in the heart of the savannah lived three inseparable young girls, Mariam, Nafissa, and Christelle. Since childhood, they had shared everything. But as they grew older, one dream united them more strongly than ever: to escape poverty and live a life of luxury, no matter the cost. They were beautiful, perhaps too beautiful for such a small, dusty village. Mariam, the leader of the trio, was intelligent and fiercely ambitious. Nafissa, bold and provocative, loved being the center of attention, soaking up every admiring glance. And Christelle, the gentlest and quietest of the three, tended to follow their lead without thinking too much. Wherever they went, they turned heads. Men admired them, women envied them, and the village elders would whisper amongst themselves, shaking their heads, "Those girls, they will end badly." But the three friends listened to no one. They were young, beautiful, and convinced they were destined for more. Every night you could find them in the dimly lit village bars, dressed in their finest clothes, their faces heavily made up. They were dreaming of a life they couldn't afford, a world of glamour and ease they'd only seen in magazines. Their obsession was clear and all-consuming: money, appearances, and the thrill of easy success. One day, a rich and mysterious stranger arrived in the village. He was tall, elegant, and impossibly silent. He moved with an air of quiet authority and settled into a large, white house on the very edge of the village, a place that had been empty for years. Soon the rumors began to fly. "He's incredibly rich," some said. "He's dangerous," others whispered. "He's not like other men." The three girls naturally became curious. This man was the embodiment of everything they craved. And it seemed the man was watching them too. He would observe them from a distance, his gaze intense and unreadable. One evening, he sent a messenger to summon them to his home. As they sat before him in the grand, sparsely furnished room, they felt an uncomfortable chill settle over them. He radiated a power that was both alluring and unsettling. Then he spoke, his voice calm and steady. "I have a proposal for you, one single night. In return, you will receive more money than you have ever seen." He gestured to the table where he placed a large bag filled with stacks of cash. Christelle felt a knot of fear tighten in her stomach. Mariam hesitated, her intelligent mind weighing the risk against the reward. But Nafissa just smiled. The sight of the money, the promise of instant wealth, spoke louder than reason, louder than fear. The decision was made. At 10 p.m. that night, they met him at the village hotel. The room he'd booked was strange. It was filled with candles, strange symbols drawn on the walls, and mirrors placed at odd angles. A heavy, sweet perfume hung in the air, making them feel dizzy. The man offered them wine to drink. It was rich and dark, and after a few sips, the world began to blur. The rest of the night disappeared into a deep, dreamless darkness. When they woke the next morning, he was gone, but the money remained. They stared at the bag, then at each other, and broke into laughter. They felt victorious. They were finally rich. In the days that followed, their lives were transformed. They bought new clothes, jewelry, and everything they had ever wanted, spending money without a second thought. They were the queens of the village. But soon, something strange began to happen. It started with Mariam. She began having terrible nightmares. In her dreams, she saw the man from the hotel, but his face was distorted, his eyes burning like coals, and he was surrounded by shifting, menacing shadows. During the day, she felt like she was being watched. At night, she'd wake up, convinced she could hear whispering voices and smell that same heavy perfume from the hotel room. Terrified, she secretly visited a local marabout, a spiritual healer. The old man listened to her story, his face grim. He told her that man was not human. What you accepted was not just money. It was a pact. The money is not a gift, it is a debt. When Mariam told her friends what the marabout had said, they laughed at her. They called her paranoid and superstitious. They were enjoying their new lives far too much to believe in curses. Then everything got worse. One night, a scream echoed through the village. Mariam was found dead in her bed, her body covered in deep, vicious scratches, her face frozen in an expression of pure terror. The village was horrified. The whispers of a curse grew louder. After Mariam's death, Nafissa began to change. She, too, was plagued by nightmares. She would scratch her own skin until it bled, claiming something was crawling under it. She heard voices calling her name, a constant tormenting whisper. In her delirium, she would scream Mariam's name, over and over again. The vibrant, confident girl was gone, replaced by a terrified, haunted shell. One morning, she was found dead as well. Her last breath a hoarse whisper. "He's coming for you." Christelle was the last one left. The terror was now her constant companion. She began to lose her mind. She saw her dead friends in every shadow, their faces contorted in agony. She saw the man from the hotel standing in the corner of her room, just watching. She saw monstrous figures moving in the reflections of mirrors. The village, once fascinated by her, now avoided her like the plague. She was a bad omen, a living ghost. Even her own father, ashamed and afraid, rejected her. But her mother refused to let her daughter die. Desperate, she sought help everywhere, until one night, they found a mysterious old woman living deep in the bush, a woman known for her knowledge of the ancient ways. The old woman looked into Christelle's terrified eyes and revealed the horrifying truth. Each of you was an offering, a sacrifice to fuel his power. But there is still a chance. If you confess your actions with a sincere heart and renounce the curse and money, you can still be saved. At the sacred river, under the pale light of the moon, Christelle, guided by the old woman, waded into the cold water. The voices screamed in her head, the shadows writhed at the water's edge, and fear threatened to swallow her whole. The spirit of the man appeared, a furious, terrifying apparition, but as she prayed and washed away her greed, he let out a horrifying scream and vanished into the night. Christelle survived, but she lost everything she had once craved: the money, the superficial beauty, the life of careless luxury. She saved her soul. Today, she lives a simple life. She helps her mother, her face etched with a wisdom far beyond her years. And to any young girl who will listen, she shares her story, her voice a quiet but powerful warning. Easy money always hides a price. And sometimes that price is your life. Thank you for watching. If you found this story meaningful, please like and subscribe for more content like this. Stay safe and remember what truly matters.